Welcome to week number 31 of Sitting with Arvin. Can I make $1 million in 5 years? Today I'm feeling all sorts of jittery and I don't know, a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be an exciting one. My finances, this is what I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over my finances, my work, and where I see that going because ultimately that will provide me with that income. And then finally, some bonus content that goes over synchronicity, manifestation, and a new story. So for finances, I am about $3,300 in the negatives. That's credit card debt subtracted by the income that I have now, or the money that I have in my checkings. For finances, I'm also working on a budget. It's pretty primitive now, but I put some good work into it. My base monthly income is $2,800. So I make $700 a week working as a carpenter. So doors, windows, cabinets, that sort of thing. And my budget for the month is $2,465. That is $300 in gas and car insurance. For my phone, internet, utilities, and house, it is $1,240. Therapy, this is a high ticket number, but I do find it important for myself in building this base. That is $460. That includes a group therapy, men's group, once a month therapy work, as well as some work I'm doing with a movement coach to help myself feel more connected and run fast. By the way, check out Running with Arvin. That's where I'm posting my videos about my running journey. I'm also setting aside $100 a month for fun. So going out to eat, going on dates, anything like that. That's not that much money, but I have to live a little lenient right now. Then I'm setting aside also for the next 4 months, $300 each month. And that's going to an MDMA assisted psychotherapy event that I'm doing. Subscriptions is $30. And that leaves me with an extra $335 a month. So that's just enough to skate by on. However, that is me working 28 hours a week on my regular job. For my own job, I still do a lot of work. And so I want to get into that now. What am I doing specifically for work? Like I said, it's the 28 hours a week for a carpenter, which is really good work. I'm learning a lot. I was working as a salesperson for a roofing company. After working with them for a little bit, it was commissions only. I don't want to get into specifics, but basically it wasn't a good fit. So it also feels like to me in general, I'm putting energy into making someone else's dream come true in hopes that I can flip a quick profit. And I do need income, but if I'm able to survive off less and put more energy into my dream and my goal, then that is what I want to do. And so speaking to that, my dream and my goal and how that relates to work, I am still working on getting my general contractor's license. It's been about 2 weeks that I've been waiting on someone to sign for 6 months, and then I'm going to apply. It's taking a while for them to get back, and they said they're going to sign, but it's just taking a while to get back on that. Another thing is I just got accepted for and put in a deposit to start the application process further, which includes an orientation. I'm going to UNM University. Currently my major is declared as construction management. I already am really close to an engineering degree, so maybe I'll change that to engineering construction management. And because I have to take a set amount of hours with that school to graduate with them, it would be easy for me to tack on something extra. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm thinking something in design, which architecture is something that I'm feeling pretty curious and interested in. Something that I forgot to mention is that I just applied for 2 grants. One is for a woodworking grant through Pascal and something Edelman. It's a $10,000 grant for custom woodworkers. They're getting a lot of applications, so it's going to be competitive. And the other grant I applied to was through the city of Santa Fe, like small business funding. So more specifically to what I love doing and what I want to see become a reality, and that is woodworking. I have a commission right now. Thank you to my friend who commissioned me for nightstands, and it feels good to do that. Right now it's not a ton of profit because these things take a lot of time and I'm still finding what my worth is, and also just like I'm kind of seeing it as paid practice. I don't make a lot, but I'm learning and I get an opportunity to build something, which I love doing. So I'm going to be putting more energy into that. There's been a lot of back and forth, but through this process, I found more clarity. And in that clarity, it's that I want to do the things that I love and the things that I find meaningful. And so in addition to that, I also, maybe even more than the custom furniture, is I want to put energy into making unique and special woodworking projects. That includes my art, and you'll see a video here, and that includes my wooden toy business, which right now is just rattles, and I'm putting in work to creating a jig and very like precise system to create these as best as I possibly can, while being able to allow many people to get them. I want to give this rattle to as many people as I can in this world, and I have vague plans for a toy truck and a toy rocking horse that I also want to create. So those are for my businesses. Anything extra that I make from that is pretty minimal, but that will be in addition to the income that I mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so finances and my work. That summarizes that. Now I want to get into something that I have been thinking about a lot, the bonus content. That involves synchronicity, manifestation, and a new story. And this involves a lot of my feelings, I guess, like I'm a heavy feeler. Synchronicity. Everything in this world flows in a sort of way. There are rules that govern, reality. There's gravity, and we're spinning in space, and photosynthesis feeds the trees, and the trees give back to us in oxygen. And there's this system of, I guess, organization. And I think even deeper than that, there exists a type of flow that the human can move into, something like purpose or destiny. I don't think it's that black and white. I think that as a human, we have some autonomy and like authority over our own lives and how we move. But I also think that there are like different paths that we can take, and there is a way to surrender into a direction. And so much of my life I've been pushing so hard. At least that's how I feel. And I imagine a more smooth sort of way of being able to work through life. And that's what I'm trying to tap into. And that also involves the idea of manifestation. I am so scatterbrained. And if you've watched these videos, I've made patents, a patent. I've put in work helping someone else grow their company. I've done roofing. I've submitted many, like 3 or 4 auditions for like movies and done interviews for like reality TV shows. I've been doing background work. I can't list all of it. I don't remember all of it right now, but my energy is scattered everywhere and there's not clarity of direction. So for manifestation, for building this life, which I think synchronicity plays a way into that, as in like falling into the path and still working hard, but being pulled into it, more flowing rather than hard-headedly trying to make this happen. There's this quote, I don't remember who it's attributed to, but it's like, in the metaphorical context of gardening, anxiety makes the plants wither. And I carry with me a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, and just sporadic energy going everywhere. and I want to dial that in and focus that in. And how do I want to focus that in? I want to focus that in to a new story. And I believe that through history, you can see this world moving in different directions. There's different evolutions of the human. And I think that we're in a transitional period. The most latest and most predominant, at least that I'm aware of because I've been living in it, is like capitalism. And with the birth of like America, it gave a lot of energy and autonomy to the individual. And I think at a foundation, it's like, it's quite powerful, because before there were the kings and nobles, and they had authority over all the people, where it was very almost slave driven. And even in today, or now in today, the individual is given more freedoms than we have had in the past. And we've seen with that, like, you reap what you sow. With that, there's been a huge creation. We see mansions everywhere, you know, more so than we have in the past, where I grew up in Europe and I see castles from these nobles that built it off, you know, slave labor and all that. Now, I think it's a step further. I think definitely better, right? The human has a lot more autonomy, a lot more self-drive. I don't know how to put all this into words, but it's incredible what we can create. There's $1 million houses all the way down the line here of people who have either earned or were born into, or whatever, a big like amount of income. But I think a new story, and I've been hearing people talk about it, is like a way of building businesses that gives part of that business to the employee, to co-owners, and that helps in a network of group, like helps this grow more. Because when the individual is invested, they can and want to do more. And I don't know how that will look yet, but I think that that's kind of a new story. And that new story also, I think, involves coming into more community, more networking, more working together to make dreams come true. So like in the past, I've read a lot of books from like, I don't know, the book To Think and Grow Rich. I forget the name of the authors, but it was this story of like you using, I guess, manifestation, but to build a life that you want, but it was very much individualistically focused, which I don't have a problem with that necessarily. There's too many avenues that I would have to go down to try and find clarity in this, because it's kind of difficult for me to express. But anyways, the newer story is more communal as I see it, and also more in flow. And I see some of the progress and incredible things that people have done that might be not totally in sync with like a harmonious way of living in this earth, you know, like, this is speculative, so don't judge me, but like America's assembly line sort of like a living. We can produce so much, and it's incredible. Ford had that vision and dream and goal of like making the automobile available for everyone, and he made it happen. And look at the world, like there's huge cars everywhere. That energy, that momentum that he started, it's still chugging along. Like, but is it ultimately the best for this world? I don't know. I think that he was such a strong and powerfully minded person that he created momentum towards a movement, which I would give him big credit for, like, you know, applaud him for that. But it's like, can we do better? And as I try and pursue these goals as an individual, but also like collectively as we try to move forward, how can we create a more beautiful world? What can I do that will help create a better world? Not just say have a goal and shoot for it, and it's a little bit that, but also while doing that, questioning how is the bigger impact of what I'm doing? Is it creating a better world? That's kind of vague, but that's my thoughts for now. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment. I love it when people leave feedback or questions or anything like that. Yeah, so that's week 31, deep into this process of trying to make $1 million, and see how it goes. All right, you stay classy. Till next time.